Hello and welcome to a brand new triathlon event whose location and setting is sure to become as famous as the distance it demands. Every Ironman requires a memorable 140.6 mile journey of mental and physical stamina. And of the 26 races available all across the world, this is surely one to inspire even the most fatigued of competitors, because with its castles, coastline, scenery and beaches, this really is a course to savour. Welcome to Tenby for Ironman Wales. So far this year, our tour of the British Isles has taken us on to Exmoor for Wimbledon, up north to Bolton and across the Irish Sea for Galway. And those three races have left us in no doubt that the Ironman spirit is one to both admire and motivate. The quartet of races come to a conclusion here in South Wales, and just like the original Ironman event in Kona, Hawaii, it all starts with a dip in the ocean. The Irish Sea may be a little more bracing than the Pacific, and where the World Championships becomes a cycle through the lava fields, here it's the green fields of Pembrokeshire Coastal National Park that dominate the 112-mile bike stage. Let's take a full look at the course with your commentator, Patrick Winterton.
Coldy Island, famed for its monastery and of course the lavender perfumery, today will protect the Pembrokeshire Coastal National Park from some of the Atlantic swell coming in. And Ironman Wales really does take in the most stunning locations. It's a big event and it's got a big field of professional triathletes today. Pembroke Castle looking spectacular. And the narrow streets of Tenby, where the marathon will take place after the swim and the cycle, a total distance today of 140.6 miles.
Well, it's an absolutely stunning morning down here on the beach, clear, crisp and calm. And the 1,500 men and women gathering behind me will one day be very proud to say they were among the first to tame the course here in Tenby. But before they start dreaming of the finish line, there's the preparation for the pain and the journey to come.
Total focus and final realization of what they are about to take on. For the professionals in the coloured hats, they've been there, they've seen it, they've done it. The question is, which one will come out on top today? Erin Farlow, who won Ironman UK Bolton in sensational style. The Australian is having a fantastic season. Can he wrap it up with a win here in Tenby as well?
I'm not too sure about actually winning it. Just to get through the race and have a good race by my own standards, I'll be more than happy with. Whether that means winning it or not, I'll still be happy with a solid performance.
What do you make of this course from what you've seen and heard about it so far?
It looks really tough, really hilly, windy, wet. It's going to be a really hard day, and I think it's going to be tough.
Kristin Muller of Germany, who of course won the women's event in Bolton as well. She's looking to do the double here in Tenby. My goodness, can she run off the back of the swim and bike ride? But 2 Ironmen in a month, it's a big ask.
I think I'm a little bit tired because Bolton was 4 weeks, I think so 4 weeks ago. And you need a little bit time, and that's why I will see how fast I can run, but I don't think that I can run so fast. I think 3 hours about the hilly run course, it's also a great time for me.
Well, in Welsh, Tenby means little town of fishes, so there'll be plenty for these 1,500 men and women to look at. But it's time for the big start, so let's join Patrick Winterton as they head off for their 2.4-mile swim in the Irish Sea.
And it's a very rough swim indeed. They've switched from the south to the north beach to try and give the triathletes some protection from the Atlantic swells coming in. Hurricane Irene certainly playing havoc in this part of the world. There you see the map of the course, 2 loops with a little run along the beach in between each. That's where we'll get to see who is where, but it's the waves that everyone is concerned about. And getting a good position in the sea, so important. You've got to watch the currents as well. The elite out front in their multicoloured hats, the masses behind them, will be looking to get on their tail, get the drag. And away they go. 140 miles to race, and some of them going off as if it's a sprint. Tricky conditions, and the RNLI doing a great job to cover the race. It requires a different sort of swimming today. And still so important to get on the tail of someone who swims that little bit faster than you do. There's always a little bit of aggro in the early stages. The best thing, find a little space, settle down, get into your rhythm. Not easy with 1,500 competitors. The leaders, well, they found themselves a little bit of clean water, but they're very close to the headland where the currents are strongest. They may have been better just to drift a little bit out to the right. Daniel Müller in the purple hat for Germany, a 34-year-old who swims pretty well, 17:10 for 1,500 metres, so no surprise to see him out the front. That's Ido van der Meer in the white cap, who looks as though he may reach the first buoy in pole position. 2 men to watch out for. Remember, it is 2 loops. The total distance for the swim, 2.4 miles, just under 4 kilometres. A great start for Müller and van der Meer. They've got a 20-metre lead. Behind them, one of the great sights in sport as the inaugural Ironman Wales gets underway.
These were tough swimming conditions for many, but Tenby triathlete Oliver Simon, moving into the lead in the green cap here, was also right at home in the swells of the Irish Sea. He'd led out in the calm of a lake swim at Ironman UK, and after lap 1 of the contrasting 2.4 miles here, was on course to do the same.
Yeah, I train on the course pretty much every day. Like I've beach lifeguarded on all the beaches around here. I have done a lot of surf rescue when I was younger as well, which is where my skills come with in the sea. And I would like, you know, a bit more waves, to be honest, a bit of body surfing, but obviously with triathlon you can't integrate that too much for the novices.
The race favourite Aaron Farlow was less strong in the surf, and back at his home had obviously spent more time on the bike than Bondi.
The swim in the ocean, it was pretty rough, it was pretty windy, and there was only sort of one side of the swim that was protected. So yeah, I missed the front group that went off the front.
For the women's leader, Anya Ipak, the halfway point of the swim was perhaps a bit too soon for the victory signs, but she was opening a huge gap on compatriot Kristen Müller, who was back with the masses.
Swimming is my best discipline, so I said to myself, okay, there are swimmers who get maybe more problems than me, so I'm not afraid of the water, but it was a very, very rough sea.
The waves were big, but the support in Tenby was massive, and the halfway stage was a chance for everyone to get the spur they needed for the final lap. The next time the Ironmen and women feel the sand beneath their toes here on North Beach, they'll be running out of the water, up the hill and running half a mile into transition 1. It's going to be an exhausting changeover, so let's get straight back to Patrick.
And what a day for the local man, Oliver Simon, who's going to be first out of the water here in Tenby. It's a very long transition, an extra kilometre added because they've switched from the south to the North Beach. The good news, though, for Simon, whose running is not his forte, is the fact that that distance will come off the run later on in the race. 26-year-old Dutchman Ido van der Meer, second out of the water. And that's the climb that they have to make up towards the promenade, and then they'll race along the arched road, which is lined by thousands and thousands of fans that haven't just come from Tenby, they've come from all over the world to watch this spectacle. The first phase of the transition, off with the wetsuit, on with the training shoes to cope with that kilometre run. Aaron Farlow, the race favourite, a little bit behind. I put it at just over a minute that he's lost to the leaders. Could have been poor route choice. Maybe he's starting to feel the pace after a very heavy summer's racing. Oliver Simon elects to run up the hill in his wetsuit. He may regret that later on. Van der Meer, well, he's changed already. Farlow, same old routine. He's got so much experience, there will be no panic with the Australian, despite the fact that he's come out of the water in 5th place. Oliver Simon, and just behind him, Jurekovic of France. Jurekovic, who we saw in Alpe d'Huez earlier on in the season, did pretty well there, finished in 7th place, although he was a bit disappointed with his bike ride on that occasion. We'll see how he gets on today. First lady out of the water is, of course, Anja Ipak, who is leading at the halfway stage. She's extended that some 3 minutes down on the top men, but way ahead of the next women. So a really good start from her. Just behind her, Kirill Kotsagerov, a strong Estonian. Watch out for him on the bike ride. He's immense on the midsection of this race. Jeremy Jurekovic of France, who's got potential, 8:26.49 to finish 4th in Florida, just going past Simon to head into T1 in 1st position, looking very focused indeed. He got lost on his recce, which might explain why he's so concentrated at the moment, but certainly he has potential to win this one.
Anja Ipak was enjoying the adulation of the crowd, with her rival Muller still in the water 10 minutes behind. While up front in what was becoming a very competitive men's race, the lead changed yet again, with the Dutchman Edo van der Meer profiting from a bad start to the 2nd stage by Jurekovic.
Vélo en 2e position.
I dropped down to 2nd place at the start of the bike stage. I couldn't get my feet in my bike shoes. But I didn't panic, there's no point doing that. I took it calmly because things go better that way. It's a long ride.
112 miles to be exact, not as hilly as Ironman UK, but the wind at the tail end of a transatlantic hurricane would make up for that. Visitors were making their presence felt in the pro race too, with Van der Meer looking collected up front, Jurekovic settled in 2nd, and Aussie Typhoon Farlow overtaking Oliver Simon to go 3rd. In the pro women's race, Ipak was also down for the long haul and had a 10-minute lead over the race favourite. Kristen Muller had to go to work fast. Back in Tenby, there were still hundreds surfing into the shore to make their transitions. Big waves, a big hill, and some big hair, all things they would have to face now. Among the field were athletes from 44 countries, some far, some near.
Don't fancy doing the bike for me, do you? It's all good fun.
Ranging also from first-timers to many-timers, such as Luis Alvarez of Mexico, who was onto the 2nd stage of his 77th Ironman event.
Well, how was that? Oh, beautiful. I thought it was a little cold in the beginning, but then we warm up and it was a little choppy, but nice. The view of the church when you're coming in the bay was beautiful, so I'm enjoying it.
More spectacular views of Pembrokeshire coming up after the break on 112 miles of glorious coastline, cheering crowds, and in the shadows of ancient Welsh castles, some very personal battles just to finish this course. Or for the pros to master it, master the opposition, and win the race. Join us soon as Ironman Wales continues. Welcome back to 10B for Ironman Wales. Some of the age groupers have only just started their bike ride, but the elites are well into their high-speed pursuit on the streets of Pembrokeshire. It's the same course and the same distance for everyone though, and with this kind of support, they will all enjoy the applause and the satisfaction of the finish line. Australian Aaron Farlow was here with the aim of being the first to savour that moment, just as he had at Ironman UK, and at the 13-mile point of the bike stage, moved up into second ahead of the Frenchman Jeremy Jurekovic. Ahead of the 1,500 cyclists was a 2-lap 112-mile course set in Pembrokeshire Coastal National Park, starting and finishing in Tenby. Over the next few hours, they would be passing landmarks like Pembroke Castle, built by Norman invaders in 1093, Carew Castle, famously haunted by its pirate lord who met a mysterious death back in the 17th century, miles of epic coastline, towns like Narberth and Saundersfoot full of enthusiastic supporters, country lanes and peaceful villages with quiet churches. Still in the early stages though, the professional athletes had witnessed the beauty of the course, but also come face to face with its challenges today.
There was obviously like hedges either side of the road, so the wind was just so strong that every time there was a gap in the hedges, there was a massive crosswind coming through that you couldn't see. So just to keep the bike upright was a pretty decent effort.
The contrasts between the attractions for the eye and the trials for the body were clear to all. Estonia's Kirill Kotsegarov is a former Ironman winner in Florida, and he had arrived with ambitions for a result close to that.
Well, I came here with a pretty good shape. I knew that the course was tough. I didn't expect that it was so technical as I saw here. But the first thing that I noticed is such beautiful area here. I haven't done the course yet. I will see it during the race. I have to be really careful, but top 3 will be my goal.
At 23 miles, he was some way short in 6th, but he looked intent on chasing down and challenging the leaders. But while Daniel Muller carefully looks after his drinks bottle, Kotsegarov loses his and his cool, showing how aggressively he was racing, as well as how important nutrition is to an Ironman athlete. The scenery was becoming less relevant to the leading men as Pembrokeshire became the board on which they were playing out a very tactical race. At the 25-mile point, let's rejoin commentary with Patrick Winterton.
4th place at the moment being held by Bruno Clebu of Belgium, 34 years old, and he's being chased down hard by Kirill Kotsegarov, the Estonian, who we picked out earlier on. He's a very good swimmer, in fact, Kotsegarov. That's where he got his. That's where he started his athletics career. His aim is to win Hawaii. Now we've got to see something special if he's going to have any chance of doing that at any stage of his career. Now let's have a look at the bike course. 112 miles, as you'll know. The total ascent, that's the figure that's so astonishing. 1,750 metres, 2 big climbs at 60 miles, and then again just after the 100-mile mark. If you go too hard in the early stages, you will pay a heavy price later on this Tenby course. And not only the climbing, the wind is building and building, and it's forecast to get even stronger as the day goes on. Kotsegarov from 5th to 4th with no trouble at all, and he's pulling away from Clebu and Muller, pushing a big gear. It's a technical course here, he knows that. They've all had a good look at the cycle route. Everyone enjoying the scenery, no one enjoying the climbs. One of the many fuel stops, food and fluid on offer, and it has to be said that Pembrokeshire County Council have done a fantastic job to facilitate this race, and hats off to all the volunteers that help right the way throughout the day. And it's a long day. Clebu now, colour coordinated, powering his way round the course. Man who finished 4th in the French Ironman and 24th in Hawaii back in 2009, so he knows that he has what it takes to finish in the top 3 here today. The red and white stripes of Kirill Kotsegarov is just powering away. He's about to overtake Jurekovic. The two 23-year-olds will have a good battle today. But my goodness, Kotsagerov has set off so hard on the bike ride. You have to wonder how he's going to run a marathon at the end of this. Van der Meer, Farlow, Kotsagerov, Jurekovic, now the leading four, with Bruno Clairbout losing ground in 5th place. But making up ground, Kotsagerov, who came out of the water 3 minutes behind the leaders, has certainly cut that margin. Now chasing Farlow and Van der Meer, the 6'4" Estonian is having an absolute flyer. We know he's good over 70.3. Can he go the distance in the full Ironman? We'll find out today. He's pushing very, very hard, but still no sign of the race leaders.
By contrast, the women's leader, Anja Ipak, had no one to race directly, with Muller still 10 minutes behind. But she was aware that the biggest challenge to focus on today was not your rival racers, but the race course itself.
In 180 kilometers, there was no really 10 kilometers that you can say, okay, now I can relax. Also my brain can relax, so you need to be concentrated all the time. And this makes it also very, very tough, because you need your brain, you need to see, you need the corners, the wind, you need to be aware all the time. And this is the reason why it is so hard.
At one moment your body or your brain will say, oh, this is too tough. Please slow down. If you listen to your brain, you will slow down. But after a while, the body will accept that your brain is stronger. So you keep going. It just takes a few moments to accept the pain.
Kirill Kotsagerov seemed to not only be accepting it, but embracing it, as we rejoin race commentary with Patrick Winterton.
With 37 miles gone of 112, Kotsagerov finally has Farlow in his sights, and he's about to go past the Australian and into 2nd place. If he keeps this pace going, he could be some 6-7 minutes clear of the Australian. Little exchange of words. Kotsagerov, I think, probably saying, who's up front and where are they? Farlow probably not giving him the right information. Who's to know? He looks very, very relaxed, the Estonian. Well, there you get some idea of the hills that they've got to climb as they work their way round the Pembrokeshire coastline. Stunningly beautiful, but most of them just focused on their front wheel. The race leader, Ido van der Meer from Holland. There he is, looking good. He does much of his training in Lanzarote, incidentally. Cycling certainly his favourite phase, and he knows he needs a lead of some 10-15 minutes going into the marathon if he's going to win this one here today. And the way that Kotsagerov is going, he's not going to get it. Very difficult with the wind today. The roads are also wet from the constant rain that's been lashing across the country. Again, good discipline from Kotsagerov, pushing hard at the top of the hill and gaining free ground on the way down. Closing in rapidly now on Ido van der Meer. Erin Farlow of Australia still hasn't lost too much ground to these leaders. Farlow seems to be a little bit stronger on the uphills. He's losing ground on the flat and the downhills. Ido van der Meer, who was 2nd out of the water behind Oliver Simon. He's had the lead to himself for over 2 hours now, but now Kotsagerov and Farlow are coming back at him. This is going to be as much a psychological battle as well as a physical one. Farlow responded well to Kotsagerov's arrival, sticking out to the side so he doesn't get an advantage of the slipstream, and he's found extra strength. Again, an exchange of words. I wonder what they said this time. Farlow looking very relaxed. Look at the dimples on his helmet. That's similar to the design of a golf ball to try and reduce the air resistance. And the three leaders within 10 metres as they approach the halfway stage of this Ironman Wales. What a fantastic situation. Now, of these leading three, Aaron Farlow is by far and away the best runner, but he's got so much racing in his legs from the last 6 weeks that you have to wonder whether he can go the distance today. Kotsegarov knows it, and he'll stick with the Australian as long as he can. And don't forget Jurekovic and Claire Boo, who are in 4th and 5th at the moment and still dangerous.
As they approached the halfway point, the Estonian and the Australian were on an entirely different plane of bike riding to the rest of the field and pulling away quickly. Farlow would soon find himself in a lone breakaway though, as Kotsegarov's race came to an end. Bruised and out of the race, but he was okay. It was a demonstration that Ironman racing is a tough game. In Saundersfoot, Farlow still led from Van der Meer, but a chase group of Jeremy Jurekovic, Bruno Clairbout, Daniel Muller and Marcus Tomska were also working hard in the push to transition too. The Germans especially were making a last effort to gain time on Farlow in the remaining miles, but the leader was more than 5 minutes ahead and riding well, and only the camera bike was going to find him today.
I'm never really confident. Even the guy on the cameraman on the bike, he asked me if I was confident with the lead that I had.
Nah, long way to go.
You know, I told him that, you know, you're never confident when you've got a marathon to go.
Well, this is the site of the marathon, multiple laps around Tenby, and that's what Aaron Farlow has to take on now. If he can get anywhere near his time from Bolton of 2:41, surely he will walk away with a winner's check today. Again, a little bit of climbing to be done on the way around the 26.2 mile course. Aaron Farlow's put himself in a fantastic position to do the double. Marcus Tomska, what a bike ride he's had. At this rate, around 5:12, 5:13, and it's pushed him all the way up into second place. And now he will be thinking of finishing on the podium. A great run for the German, and he finishes just ahead of his compatriot Daniel Muller, a man who's gone under 3 hours for the marathon. He could be in line for a top spot today. Tomska heading out onto the marathon course. There's still a long, long way to go. Back in 4th place, Jurekovic has lost over 10 minutes on the bike ride, and a clash of colours and bikes as Clairbout and Van der Meer come into T2 together. Aaron Farlow looking for yet another victory. He strikes a lonely figure, and he's certainly yet to get into his rhythm. Tomska pushing hard early on. He's got some support. He's going to need it. Looks to be overheating a little. And the result of this race is certainly not a foregone conclusion. Farlow has the lead, but can he hold on? Well, the masses are out there. Their battle is not to win, it is to complete the course. And as they climb one of the many, many hills, they see the surf and they hear the surf in the background. Alvarez all the way from Mexico as he tries to notch up yet another successful Ironman. He's looking very good and still smiling, which has to be a good sign.
Feeling great. Little pain on the legs, as usual, but perfect. The road is, the only thing that is better than the weather is the people. Beautiful.
There's a certain fascination in being a spectator at one of these events. Firstly, you can't believe that people can go for 140 miles non-stop. But secondly, the atmosphere generated, quite fantastic.
It's not always an enviable position to lead onto the run, and with former German steeplechase champion Müller behind, the women's leader Anja Ipak would never be able to take it easy.
I got information from my supporter, but they were wrong. So I thought she's, and all the other women are more than 20 minutes behind, and this makes me on the second lap really relaxed, and I said, okay, save energy for the marathon. And I was really surprised when I have been to the transition to the T2 and saw the second and third women, and then I thought, okay, take my legs and run as fast as I can.
Müller had won Ironman UK on the third stage though, and was speeding round Tenby on what is surely one of the most scenic marathons in the world of Ironman. By now, the locals and visitors alike had turned out in masses to cheer on the runners on the increasingly busy course. They were witnessing a thrilling run race with both pro leaders coming under pressure. Anja Ipak was passed by Jeremy Jurekovic, moving up strongly on lap 3 of the men's event. But that would be less of a concern to her than getting passed by Müller after just 8.5 miles. But not long after finally taking the lead, Kristen senses that something is wrong.
Normally I need on the marathon water and gels, but in the second and in the third loop I drank Pepsi because I need sugar and sugar and sugar for the energy. Yeah? Because you get tired, and then you think, okay, change. You need another plan.
For some athletes, every calorie of the race is planned out, and with the bike stage taking longer than many competitors expect, carefully calibrated nutrition plans give way to making it up as they go along, or not. And many were left in danger of running out of fuel. No one in the field could claim more experience than Dave Orlowski, who took part in the legendary first Ironman in Hawaii back in 1978. But even he was finding new ways to hurt in Wales.
I'm going to be watching that cutoff time at midnight tonight, though. I can see that pretty beaten up from the bike, so we'll see how the legs do.
For many, it would be a mixture of running and walking from here to the finish. Not so for Kristen Müller, who'd run hard to take first place and needed to keep it going, something which Anja Ipak knew, and she'd been cool about losing the lead to her compatriot.
A marathon is very long, and although she's a good runner, they're called could something happen. So I thought, okay, when you get cramped, for example, or when you start too fast, a marathon can be very long, and the situation can change. And this is why I said, okay, go on your speed and then see in the end what will happen.
The two winners of Ironman UK were leading Ironman Wales then, but on this gruelling day, neither Müller nor Farlow are in a position to start dreaming of doubles in 2011. The Australian too seems weak in the legs and desperate to consume anything with sugar in it. And he'd need it, with the cream of Europe chasing him down, including the Frenchman Jeremy Jurekovic, who was running like a man possessed, just 3 minutes down going into the last lap. As Farlow made his way round Tenby's spectacular Castle Rock, he was looking increasingly vulnerable. Still a lot of demons between every competitor and the finish line in this inaugural Ironman Wales. Join us after the break as the battle to be first there heats up to a sprint finish. Welcome back to Tenby, where the historic streets of the town are playing a perfect backdrop as each one of these Iron men and women try so desperately hard to get to the end of the first Ironman Wales. They'll each burn around 10,000 calories during the race. That's the equivalent of 4 times the average daily intake. So getting their nutrition right in the closing stages is absolutely key. And 1 or 2 of these hostelries are sure to still be serving long after the midnight cut-off.
Some competitors, only in the early stages of their marathons, looked like they might need every minute available to complete this course. Some were further towards the finish, but even Kez Arleknavicius, a veteran of 33 Ironmans, was wondering if 33 was just enough.
Going all right. I've had a few of those Steve Redgrave moments, you know, where you shoot me if you see me doing this again.
Everyone on the course seemed to be running out of fuel, including the lead 2 women and Marcus Tomska in 2nd place in the pro men's race. The only contrast perhaps was Jeremy Jurekovic, who looked like he was on some kind of sugar rush as he took that 2nd place. The Frenchman had led briefly out of the swim and raced patiently on the bike. Now was the time to give it all and try and get that lead back, which seemed possible. Farlow was even taking detours in search of nutrition and energy. Back in Tenby on the last lap with 1.5 miles to go, Jurekovic eventually got sight of his target, but would he be able to close those final meters?
For 9 hours I'd been exhausted myself, giving everything. Near the end there were many times when I said to myself, I'm 2nd, that's already a great performance. But I had to try to find a bit more in the race to the line. You try, you give everything. I thought, if he wins, he's the best. If I win, I'm stronger.
Well, the atmosphere here at the finish line in Tenby is absolutely incredible. The winner is in for a sensational reception. So let's get straight back to our commentator, Patrick Winterton.
It's crunch time for the inaugural Ironman Wales. They have 1,000 metres to go. It's still Farlow with the lead. He's now moving much better than he was 5 or 6 kilometres ago. But he may be required to find a sprint because Jurekovic is coming up so fast behind him.
Where is he?
Where is he, says Farlow. Well, he'll find out soon enough. Mouth open, lungs gasping. Jurekovic is on the mission. And if he looks carefully, he will see Farlow at the end of the street. It's been a phenomenal comeback. Jurekovic lost 12 minutes on the bike ride, and slowly but surely he's clawed it back mile by mile. He now has just over 500 metres to go, and his goal is to win this one. He cuts his race line very fine. Every inch could count in this case. Very seldom do you see a sprint finish in an Ironman event, but that's what we could have here. Farlow with the Y on his back, the yellow Y, just 50 metres ahead now, and the Frenchman responds once again. There's the finishing straight down the front at Tenby. The crowds are well aware that they're about to see something special here. From 50 metres, it's now cut to 25, and Jurekovic is gaining. The big question is, can Farlow find anything in his legs to outsprint the Frenchman at this stage? Both men are running on empty, there's no doubt about that. Another injection of pace from Jurekovic, and now he's within 10 metres. I think Farlow will hear the Frenchman breathing behind him. The grimace on his face, certainly relaxed. He's going to make himself look very good as he goes past, and Farlow may get the message. Farlow certainly struggling. It's been a long season. Remember, he was very ill in July. There were question marks over his appearance in Alpe d'Huez, but he raced well there, finished third. He won in Bolton, as you know, and suddenly his victory here in Tembe is slipping away. Into the finishing straight, and it's Jurekovic by 7-8 metres over Aaron Farlow of Australia. Well, there's no Usain Bolt speed down the home straight, but you have to understand why. A 2.4-mile swim, 112 miles on the bike, followed by the marathon, and Jurekovic looking over the shoulder. He gets faster and faster and faster, and now he knows that victory is his. A sensational race, his pacing absolutely perfect. It does not come any better than that. Jurekovic is the 2011 Ironman Wales champion, and he deserves it. He finishes just 5 seconds ahead of a distraught and broken Aaron Farlow. What a demonstration of determination.
Ladies and gentlemen, I don't think you'll ever see a finish like that.
Well, I can only agree with the local announcer. They will never see a finish quite like that.
Félicitations! Quel infini!
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Farlow still down and out. So unlucky today. He is in such pain. But Jurekovic suddenly finds a second win. And he deserves this celebration. The crowd deserve this celebration. It's been a wonderful day out. And a big credit to all the volunteers here. The contrast between victory and defeat is all too apparent. And so totally understandable. Farlow is not interested in celebration. Jurekovic with the race of his career.
J'y croyais pas.
I can't believe it, he says. I first saw Farlow with 500 metres to go. It is absolutely magic. Well, certainly it is for one man. For this man, it's painful. He's had his fair share of success this year, but it's this one that hurts. Second place to Farlow. Great third place to Bruno Clerbout. It's not the quickest finish, but my goodness, he's recorded a very, very good time indeed. Just over 9 hours. And that is an indication of how tough this course here in Tembe is. The weather hasn't helped. Blustering winds, making every inch of the course a fight. Regret on the face of Farlow.
Aaron, we have seen some dramatic races in Ironman in the UK, but that is about as close as it gets.
Yeah, I just had a really rough patch with about 8 k's to go, and I was almost walking for about 3 or 4 k's, and I just had to keep going. I thought that I could still win it. I wasn't sure how much of a gap I had. I just kept hammering myself and trying to win it. The support out there today was awesome, so thanks to everyone in the town. It was unreal. It was one of the best supported races I've seen, so thank you.
Kristen Muller, despite having tired legs before the race even started, has produced another wonderful performance to add the Ironman Wales title to that of the Ironman UK. Watch out for her in the future. She runs like the wind and is certainly a potential Hawaii champion.
At the end it was really hard. My legs are so injured, but the feeling on the course, it was fantastic.
Second place, Anja Ipak. She led out of the water after another very, very good swim, but couldn't match the speed of Kristin Müller on the marathon. She's been a little unlucky in the past, but she came here to win.
The second place, to be honest, it's not that what I supposed, but in the end, it's an Ironman, and sometimes you don't know why, but there have been so many people shouting, and they were so friendly. So I fall in love with the Welsh people. They are great.
Stephanie Adam, racing as an age grouper and earning herself the right to race at the World Championships in Kona, is third woman overall. A brilliant performance from her. Out on the course, there are some very, very tired-looking legs. Luis Alvarez, well, he's still got a bit of spring in his step.
Looking good. I cannot wait to get into the town and make the loops. That's going to be the best.
Come on, mate! Do it!
Kes Aleknevicius on his way to finishing his 33rd Ironman. For many, the pain will be forgotten in 24 hours, and they'll be planning their next race. Such is the joy of completing an event of this stature. A little sprint coming in from Aleknevicius as he comes down the line. Just over 12 hours 20.
The conditions were stacked against everybody. The wind, the hills, the choppy sea. There's no hiding place here. You would be broken if you were not strong. But it's an Ironman. It's a strong person's event.
Remember, they have to finish in under 17 hours to claim the Ironman status. Adventure racing specialist Nicola McLeod finishes strongly. And as the night draws on, all those out on the course racing the clock and the tail end of Hurricane Irene, which is approaching the Welsh coast. 16:44, Dave Orlovsky. He raced in 1978, 33 years ago, and he's still going strong.
This was by far the toughest day I have ever had.
And from a man who competed in the first ever Ironman, and of course in the most recent, that is saying something.
Well, that's it from Tenby. It's been a remarkable debut for Ironman Wales. For a chosen few, the opportunity now to test themselves at the Ford Ironman World Championship in Kona, Hawaii next year. And as for the 6,500 triathletes who came, saw and conquered all 4 events across the British Isles this year, well, they're already planning and training for a quicker time and a higher finish in 2012. See you soon.